Not everyone wants to maintain the infrastructure, set up networking, manage application scaling, and other operational and administrative tasks such as server patching and upgrade and just focus on writing code. But how would you ignore these important factors and just focus on your code development? Well, App Engine to the rescue. You might be wondering what exactly is an App Engine? Well, it's a fully managed serverless platform as a service for developing and hosting your web applications at scale. You can choose from several popular languages, libraries, and frameworks to develop your apps and let App Engine takes care of provisioning servers and scaling your applications based on the demand. You don't have to worry about managing the infrastructure and you can just focus on writing your code. It is well suited for a microservice based architecture. Now let's understand what exactly is a platform as a service. PaaS or platform as a service is a cloud service offering in which Google Cloud or any cloud service provider basically takes care of your infrastructure such as runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, networking, all these aspects. And you can just focus on your application and data. Well, there are two types of app engine environment. One is standard, another one is flexible. Let's have a look at the difference between each of those. Well, in standard deployment, your application run on a sandbox in its own secure, reliable environment that is independent of the hardware, operating system, or the physical location of the server. And flexible, your application instances run within the Docker containers on compute engine virtual machines. Standard comes with pre-configured runtime environment of a supported version of below languages only: Python, Java, PHP, Node.js, Ruby, and Go. Only these languages and few particular versions of these languages are supported. And if you want to use any other programming language, then flexible would be a better choice for you, where you could just use your own custom runtime or source code written in any other programming language. Well, there is a free daily quota in app service environment and it is a pay-per-use service. In this particular version, you can scale down the instances to zero to save some cost. However, in flexible, the pricing is based on usage of compute resources such as CPU, memory, disk, and instances cannot be scaled down to zero. The minimum you can bought it down to is 1. In standard, you don't have the SSH capabilities. If you want to perform the SSH to the underlying virtual machine, then again, flexible would be a better choice for you. Standard is mostly suitable for the applications that experiences sudden and extreme traffic spike where immediate scaling is the requirement. However, if you have an application that receive consistent traffic, experience regular traffic fluctuations, then flexible would be a better choice for you. So there is a limited third-party binary installation. For standard, you cannot install your third-party binaries other than the versions and languages provided to you that we have already seen. In flexible, there is no limitation to that. You can install any third-party binary. There are three scaling types supported by standard app engine: manual, basic, and automatic. However, with flexible, we have manual and automatic. Alright, so this is our sample app.yaml file that is used as a deployment configuration file for any app engine deployment. Over here, you have specified your runtime. So I have used Node.js 16. You could use any other supported version if it is a standard deployment. If it is a flexible deployment, then you can use basically any version or any other programming language as well. Here, the instance class is F2, default is F1. If you don't specify the instance class, so default will be F1. So F1, F2, F4, and basically all the F classes supports auto scaling. However, all the instance classes that starts with B, like B1, B2, B4, P8, they support manual and basic scaling. Auto scaling is not supported in the B class. It's only supported in the F class. Here you can specify your environment variables. This would be the default bucket where your application engine code will be uploaded and downloaded during the version deployment. And this is the handler section where you have specified, like, if the URL is this, like, look for this particular directory and download all the static files from there. This handler is basically redirecting all your HTTP traffic to HTTPS with the response code 301. This is the error handler where all the default errors will be redirected to this page, and error code such as over quota will be redirected to this page. So this is a simple structure of a app.yaml configuration file. Now let's have a look at the different scaling types in App Engine. We have three, as we have just seen: basic, automatic, and manual. So you specify basic scaling as this block in your app.yaml file, where the max instances would be the maximum number of instances that your version will be scaled to. In automatic scaling, you basically specify the metrics according to which you would want your application to be scaled. You specify min and max instances and few other optional parameters as well. In manual scaling, you only specify the instances. For example, over here we specified instances as 5. So this would be the initial number of instances that will be provisioned, and it will be scaled accordingly. Now we have two more parameters to be used in app config file: max idle instances and min idle instances. So maximum number of idle instances that are warmed up to be used when application needs scaling. So this is to enable the rapid scaling as the load increases on the server, and minimum number of instances that are warmed up to be used when application needs scaling. So these two are again the optional parameter that can only be configured if you have enabled inbound services warmed up. So you need to put this block in your app YAML in order to use the above two parameters. Let's have a look at the example now. Let's suppose you have application A. In your project A, you could only have one application per project. Then you could have multiple services as part of that application. Let's say service 1 and service 2. Each service could have multiple versions. Whenever you deploy a service or you redeploy it with a new option or you update anything in that, a new version will be created. And you could choose to split traffic among the previous version and the new version, or you could just migrate the traffic as well. You could roll back from one version to another. We'll see that in the demo section. And each version could have multiple instances serve the traffic. The version 1 is running on instance 1. However, version 2 of service 2 is running on instance 1 and 2. Let's say we have a scaling event happen and application needs auto scaling. Then new instances will be provisioned and the load will be distributed accordingly. So this is to make sure that you have high availability and fault tolerance whenever there is a spike in the traffic. Once everything is done, follow these steps to perform the resource cleanup. Please keep in mind you cannot delete an app engine once it is created, but there are different steps you could take to stop incurring charges. First, go to application engine, disable the application. Then you delete the default App Engine service account. Then you delete the App Engine storage buckets. Alright, so let's log into your Google Cloud Console and search for App Engine. Right, if you don't have anything created yet, it will be like this. Then you hit over here, create application. First step is to select a region. Region change is permanent. You cannot change the behavior after this. So let me just use the default region, which is US Central. Hit next. Now it will ask you to choose the language and the environment type. We have these many options to choose the language from: Python, Node.js, Java, Go, PHP, .NET, Ruby. And if you select any other language than this, then this option, the environment option, will be changed to flexible. because only Flexible has the capabilities to use any other language than the provided ones. Right, so I'll just use the Node.js one in the standard environment. Right, and the next step is to create the app engine deployment from your Google Cloud SDK or from the Cloud Shell. So you could just download the SDK on your local system, or you can use the Cloud Shell. I'll just activate the Cloud Shell where this gcloud SDK will already be installed, and I basically have to run this command gcloud app deploy. But before that, I need to have my repository ready. Right, so I have downloaded the source code over here, Node.js sample docs. If you want, there is this GitHub repo which has some code samples that you could use. So I'll just go inside this directory, app engine, and there are different examples. I'll just use the hello world. Okay, and standard deployment. So in this, I have an app.js file which will be serving as my web page, and there is this app.yaml. So app.yaml that we have already seen the syntax of it. App.yaml will have the configuration that is used by your app engine deployment. So currently it only has the runtime, but you could also add the other options that we saw. Right? Okay, this app.js will have a hello world page, will print Namaste Google Cloud, and it will listen on port 8080. Right, so to deploy the app, there was this command over here, gcloud app deploy, and you need to just run the command over here. It's not this one, gcloud app deploy. Once you do that, it will prompt you to authorize the request. Hit authorize. And it will show you the different details like your project name, target URL, version, service account. So app engine default service account will be used. Hit continue. Yes. Now it will upload these files to a Google Cloud Storage bucket. Alright, it has deployed the application. Okay, and it will be listening to this particular default service. You could either run this command to get the URL or just open this in a new tab, paste it over here, and it says Namaste Google Cloud. So our app has been deployed successfully. Now few things over here. Let's go back to our cloud console. Now if you refresh this page, you will see a default service created over here and one version listening to it. So this is like, if you go to versions, this is the version that is currently enabled and serving 100% of your traffic. Right, let's say you want to deploy a new version of application. Okay, let me make some change over here, app.js, and let's change the welcome message to Namaste Google Cloud 2.0 over here. I'll save the file. Let's redeploy again, Google app deploy. Yes. Okay, it will again upload the file to a cloud storage bucket for the newer version. Alright, so a new version will be created now. Let's go ahead and refresh this page. Okay, Namaste Google Cloud 2.0, our version has been deployed now. Now if we go back over here and hit refresh on the versions page, you will see two versions, and this newest version is now serving 100% of the traffic. But you can always roll back to the previous version. You select the version that you want the traffic to be rolled back to, and you hit over here migrate traffic. Once you hit migrate, your traffic will be routed to the previous version. So this will become 100 and this will become 0. So let's wait for a few seconds. It will just doing that. Hit refresh now. Now you see the traffic is now serving back to the previous version. Right, let's open this in a new window, and now you see Namaste Google Cloud, which is our version 1. Now you can also split the traffic in percentage between those two versions. To do that, select the versions, hit over here split traffic, right? Select the split traffic by field, by IP address, by cookie, or randomly. Let's use this random, and let's put like this particular version 77 will receive the remaining traffic, and this receive 50% of the traffic. So you select over here 50% to this service and rest 50% to this version. Let's hit save. Okay, now it will split the traffic randomly between those two versions, version 1 and version 2. Okay, it says split successfully save. Let's go to versions. Now you see 50-50%. Let's open a new incognito window, paste it over here. So this was our version 1. Hit refresh. Namaste Google Cloud 2.0, that is a newer version. This is the older version. So you hit refresh and it will keep on changing the redirection of traffic from one version to another. See, this is version 1. Hit multiple times. This is version 2. Okay, this is what we wanted to test it out. So this is one way of splitting the traffic. Another way is to split the traffic by that gcloud command itself. Online, I'll put the link in the description section how you could split the traffic during the deployment itself, which is also known as canary deployment. Right. The next thing is, so we have seen this is the dashboard where you will see all your summary of the request and responses to this particular service, your billing status, your current load, how many requests were there, and stats based on that. And here will be your services. Currently we have two versions of the default service. Then your versions details over here, instances, right? There is only one instances right now for this version, and for this version there is two instances. This is how the traffic is getting splitted between those two. Then we have firewall rules. I guess this is the basic one. Okay, once the app engine application is created, you cannot delete it, you could only disable it. And let's see how to do that. You go to settings over here and disable application, enter the app ID over here. Let me just copy it and remove the space, hit disable. This will just disable the application, so that will start incurring cost. And if you see at the version, now these are in the stop state, but again you will be still charged for the storage that you have used. So go to storage bucket for that, cloud storage, and just delete these buckets that was created by app engine. So this is the default bucket, staging, and app serving traffic. Delete all these. Delete. Delete it. Then go to IAM and delete the app engine default service account, which is this one. Remove access. Right, time for a quick knowledge check. First is, can you deploy multiple versions of an application in App Engine? If yes, how can you split the traffic between those versions? How to revert the App Engine version, or how to roll back? You can create one App Engine application per GCP project. Is that statement true or false? What is the minimum permission required by Cloud Deploy Service account for App Engine deployment? Your application is written in Angular and requires SSH capabilities. Which App Engine type you should use? Alright, that's it for this video, guys. If you know the answer of these questions, let me know in the comment section below. Or if you have any difficulty understanding in any of the concepts that we have discussed so far, feel free to reach out and I will be more than happy to help you out. I hope you would have learned something out of it and this session was somewhat valuable to you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good day.